All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I'm about to go live. Here we go. And hopefully I am live. I am here. Welcome everyone to my stream, and I am happy that you're here because today we're going to talk about how to build an international or just a remote team of creatives. And I learned this from years of just going on Fiverr and Upwork and onlinejobs.ph and Craigslist. Like, I've done it all. And it's because I learned way back, just a few years ago, actually, on how to leverage a VA or a virtual assistant actually in the Philippines. This is back actually in 2015, and using them as a way to help me and my company grow by doing a lot of marketing, doing a lot of email route outreach, doing a lot of Facebook outreach. And we were paying this person through Upwork, and then from Upwork we ended up going off the actual platform and just hiring him as a full-time VA. And ever since then, I've been working with different types of VAs and people working remotely. I've used Acadium, which is actually an apprenticeship program. You can pay $50 a month and you get an apprentice from a marketing school that wants to learn more about marketing or sometimes sales or advertising. And you mentor them for 2 hours a day and they work with you. And actually, my best editor is actually from Acadium, and he is now working with me on some pretty big projects. And I was working with him back in 2018 when he was still in college, and it's pretty crazy to think about it now. He's graduating, and I'm hiring him full time. And so a lot of the people that I've been working with, they're pretty much international, from Canada to Philippines to Spain and Pakistan and Bangladesh. And the reason why is that it's a little bit more affordable, and at the same time, I get to use an international team and get to support countries. For me, I'm Filipino, so I think it's awesome that I get to actually invest in jobs in the Philippines, and they in turn help me with my company, and I help them in turn with their salary. And it helps them a lot learn more about US marketing practices and my own business. And what I do is I really help them get to their level. And so the first tip that I have really about finding the right international team and working with people remotely is to actually get them to send you samples first. Of course, I know that's very, very rudimentary and kind of self-explanatory, but you really have to see if they've actually done the job, especially for creative people. Now, when it comes to editing, or if it's visual effects or motion graphics for videos, it's really important that you get some sort of reel so you can see whether or not that they can actually accomplish the thing or the task you're trying to get them to do. Now, if you go on Fiverr, you can see their reel on their page. Sometimes with Fiverr, though, they're what they have on their page, that's like maybe their best work or just clips from their best work, and it can be a little bit deceiving. So what I always do when I am hiring somebody from Fiverr is that I actually blanket the about 4 or 5 people first, and I look at their ratings. I look first for the top rated sellers, and then English speakers. And then from there, it really just boils down to what you're hiring them for. Now, if you're hiring someone for content creation or to write captions and you're in America, it's best to actually hire people from England, South Africa, or Canada. That's what I've heard. And actually, that's worked out a lot for me. And also Australia, but people have said online that Australia is a little bit expensive, but to all the Australian folks out there, you should get hired too. So why that's important is that I recently still made this mistake of hiring someone that's in South America to write a blog for me because of the cost, and it didn't come out as conversational. And so what I should have done is ask them for a sample beforehand, because what they had on their website, it looked great, it looked stellar, and also all the reviews were stellar. And so I thought that they could actually write in my native language of American English, and it didn't come off right. It was just off. It was grammatically wrong, and I'm not going to really blame him because he, was trying his best. I think it was for me, I came in it with the cost idea in mind, is that I wanted something that was very cheap, and I got what I paid for. And so it's really important to look at the different types of sellers for each particular task or what you're looking for. You look at the top rated English speaking, and then if you want to also find their location as well. At the end of the day, you're going to find people who have the best reviews, and try to find people who have more than 50 reviews or something. I've seen a lot of great profiles out there, but they have like 1 or 2 reviews. Like, you really need someone that has a lot of reviews so you can trust that they're going to deliver on the promise that they give you, and also that they can actually do the thing you're asking them to do. And again, look for about 4 or 5, or you can do 3 if you want, and then you start favoriting them, and then you create a list, and then from there you send out a message. You contact each person and you tell them what your project is. And the second tip is to be completely descriptive and specific in detail with what you want. And that's really important for a lot of people who are working internationally, because you can't assume that they can understand everything you're saying and that they will do things because you would do it automatically, right? What you need to do is be so specific and have a system in place for someone that even a child can do it if they just turn on their computer and looked at the step-by-step process of like what you want them to do. So if I'm looking for editing, it's like what I want you to do is to go to this link, download my videos, look at these reference videos, look at this script, create something like this reference video using this script, and then from there, I want you to use this template that I found on Envato Elements, and then I want you to send me the project file so that I could edit. And why it's really important to be very detailed with what you want and also the steps to get there is because A, you're giving them a more easier job. B, it's going to be a faster turnaround. C, everything is clarified. And then D, you are actually dictating like the actual job instead of them dictating you on like, what to do. And so what you really want to do is, especially working with clients, is that you really want fast turnarounds. You want to be efficient as possible. So be as detailed as you can when you're contacting people internationally. Same goes if it's just a VA. You know, with VAs, what I've learned a lot from masterminds and a lot of, networking and just a lot of mentors is that you need to be really clear on your expectations. You need to be very, clear with your communication. At the same time, you need to know what they can actually do so you can play on their strengths. If you're going to be teaching them how to video edit and you need a video editor because they're cheap, it's going to be wasting your time. So you got to really make sure that they're really talented. You do that with a reel or asking for a resume, or you can see their past work. And so whenever you're hiring someone internationally or remotely, you also have to remember about time zones. And so this is important because it comes down to notes. Sometimes when it comes to delivery times, you would probably need, if you need something to be done by tomorrow, but they're, 12 hours away, you had to be very realistic with the time difference. And so when it comes to communication, you really have to be aware of deadlines and making sure that you get the deliverables before your deadline, a couple of days before your deadline, say, let's say it's for a client or for yourself, so you can have that buffer time at least, unless there's like, that loss in translation or the time zone differences. And so really be aware of time zones, and also that's great for if you need to do any calls. And so for people who have virtual assistants, what I do is that every single Monday, I have a call with my virtual assistants, and they're in Philippines. And that's, I forgot how many, I think it's 12 or 10 hours ahead. And so anyways, I have it every Monday at 9 a.m. And one of my assistants is up while I'm up during the day, 9 to 5. And the other assistant is up from 5 to around 4 a.m. or something. And what that means is that when I'm asleep, I have someone working. When I'm awake, I have someone helping me. And they come together at 9 a.m. every Monday, 9 a.m. my time, CST, and we talk about the goals for the week and what I need them to do. And so why that's important is that you really need to know when your person is actually going to be working, so that you can be weary and you notice that when they're going to be posting certain things. Like if they're a marketing VA, if they're going to be in Europe and then you want them to post at 9 a.m. PST, then you have to be aware that they probably will have to be up at late at night or early in the morning to do that. So time zones are really, very important to keep track. The other thing I have for as a tip for hiring international people, of course, is that deliverables online, especially when it's videos, is kind of a tricky situation. And also when you're delivering or giving someone footage, because you need to know where you're going to upload and where people are going to download footage. And so my third tip is to actually get a unlimited Google Drive account, or find some kind of unlimited, cloud account. And this is where you're going to keep a lot of your files and a lot of the assets for working with people internationally, especially with creative teams. People who have, if you're looking for a designer, for a photographer, for an animator, for a video editor, everyone has assets. You need assets. You need to upload those assets somewhere. Now, they can send you these assets online through Fiverr or through your email, but it just gets lost in translation when people are asking, where should I send this? And they send it from a weird email. I've had this, it just happened to me recently where it just sent from a weird online site from Bangladesh that I couldn't download. And so if you have just one central location where everyone can upload and download assets, that's the best way to make sure that everything stays organized and people know where to go when they need to upload and download things. And so I prefer Google Drive. You can get an unlimited account when you sign up as their business under their business suite. And lastly, for me, working with people internationally, you really have to know what they truly want in their lives. And this is something that's really important when you're just building teams in general. And why I think this is really important is a lot of international people and people who work remotely, especially internationally, sometimes they get treated like shit. Okay, and I know this because I understand. I'm a Filipino and I'm an immigrant, and they've told me stories. And so, when you're paying someone, less than what you would pay them here, sometimes people treat them like that, and that's not a great way to actually treat people in general. So don't be an asshole. And so what I like to do is that every time I work with someone internationally, I always ask them, so what do you eventually want to do? Do you want to make films? Do you want to make TV shows? Do you want to be a company owner, a business owner? Do you want your own brand? Do you want to be an influencer? Do you want to be famous? Do you want to be rich? Whatever it is, you really play upon that so you can really help them grow. Now, there are people out there you're just going to have a one and done, get them to do one thing, which is like a graphic design of your website, right? And then it's a one and done, you're out. You don't really, it's great to know what they want anyways, because then you can really just know them better and just help them kind of like use their own passion behind that goal to actually put that within your project. Like if you know that the editor that you hired for your video wants to become the next Quentin Tarantino, then you really play upon that. You're like, hey, look, how can we make this video like Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction? Oh, I like that idea. Maybe you can use this for your reel so that eventually when you want to become that next Quentin Tarantino, you can use it as part of your reel. If you have someone that's more of a long-term relationship, this is way better to dangle that carrot in the future, but mostly just to promote them and help them grow into that role and get that career that they've always wanted. For me, one of my assistants is actually very interested as being a graphic designer. So what I do is that I help her every single week. I have a graphic design project for her, and that gives her a lot of joy because she actually gets to work on the things she loves, and at the same time, she works on the things that I give her, which may seem kind of repetitive and boring, but I still give her the opportunity to work on her passion. And it's a really great way to actually motivate people internationally and remotely and just start up some kind of conversation so you're a person and have some kind of humanity in this conversation. Sometimes when you know someone's goal, but you don't know really much, their English in the translation is pretty bad. At least you have something to talk to them about as kind of like a mid ground. Because I'll be honest with you, there are times where I have hired people and it's been a very bad relationship or just a really bad conversation between both sides. And I do have to say that if I was much more of a friendlier person, it wouldn't be that way. I do have to say also, like right now, there have been some times where I've hired someone on Fiverr and they've just been late on a lot of deliverables. And so to prevent yourself from getting there, you have to let them know from the start, can you get it done by this date? Again, detailed list of all your expectations and everything that's required. And then B, you have to know what their capabilities are. Like if they're just a junior editor and you ask them to do like an animated feature in 5 days, you got to be very, 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 realistic with your time frames. And then C, always be in communication. Like you can't just hire someone a week ago and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later say, where's my content? Like be in communication with them. Like ask them. Like don't be like hounding them like, hey, where's my shit or where's my stuff? But be like, hey, what's going on? Just wanted to check in. Let me know if you need any help. Or like, hey, what's going on? Is there anything that I can do to help the process go on forward? And that way, it seems like you're coming in to help them rather than like demanding for the deliverable. And so those are some of the tips that I have for working with an international team. And this is based on just years of experience. And right now I have such a great team that I love and enjoy working with. And it's been a joy to create amazing projects with them. And I'm also just building. I found someone on Fiverr that has such a great talent with motion graphics. And I saw that he also does compositing and CGI and 3D modeling. And that's amazing because that's part of the plan I have for future videos is to incorporate that with my pitch. And so now I can see a longer relationship with this person. And I know that I can mold or train this person to become a very great post production guru and talent because they're really good. And I want to see someone grow and from an international country into a superstar. I mean, I think that would be just an amazing story. And at the same time, I just love helping people and teaching people how to become the best versions of themselves. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you really like this, please remember to subscribe, like, and share with anyone you think would benefit from watching this. And if you need any help or have any questions, you can DM me or you can email me at mitchell@videocontentschool.com or mitchell@thecreativehaven.com, either one. So I really appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Remember, every Monday. Bye.